Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I hope you can see my shared screen. Today, my presentation is going to be about communication styles. And as an example, I'm going to tell a story about a floor. So to me, this is a very nice floor. This is a tile floor that's made to look like wood. And I wanted a floor like this. And about 7 years ago, I had a floor that looked like this when I moved into the house with my soon-to-be husband. So we got to work. We rented some equipment and we rolled up our sleeves and we got rid of that old white floor. And then came this part where we laid the new tile. And because it's tile that's made to look like wood, there's a pattern that you're supposed to follow. And that's what the blue tape is. So I was very involved in this pattern. I wanted it to be perfect. I lined up everything around the doors, around the island, around the windows. I thought it through again until my lovely fiance at the time was like, that's it, enough. We got to get some tile on the ground. Stop thinking about it and just get something done. And we actually had one of our biggest arguments about this floor. But he was right because we had a deadline. In a couple of months, we were going to get married in that house on that floor. And it worked out. We got the floor down. We got past our differences. We got married. All was well. And then about 6 months later, we work in the same space, and our office had a workshop on the different types of personalities you can meet at work. So we went to the workshop, we did the questionnaires, we summed up the results, and we found my result came out in this system. They called me a 3. So a 3 is very accurate and detail-oriented and maybe nitpicky and definitely slow. And my husband, his results came out, he is a 4. He is fast and decisive, and he can sometimes be impatient. So this information has been hugely helpful to us in our marriage. I'm forever grateful that we had this workshop because as soon as the workshop ended, I was like, the floor, this is exactly what happened with the floor, is that I wanted it to be perfect and you wanted to just get something done. And it has come up in our 6 years or so of marriage now a few times that we realize we're both frustrated and we realize, okay, you're being a 3, you're being a 4. That's exactly what we call it now. And we both need to adjust a little bit and find a happy middle and move forward. So just for the full picture, in this workshop that we did at the office, there were 2 other categories, a 1 and a 2. 1 would be a peacemaker and 2 would be an entertainer. So if you've done the Toastmasters communication styles, it's interesting because they also have 4 and they actually line up quite well together with what the work version was. The supportive communication style would be the peacemaker. The initiating communication style would be the entertainer. The analytical communication style would be the scholar or the thinker. The direct communication style would be the achiever. So my numbers came out, I am the analytical communication style. And here's the information from the Toastmasters web, or the pathways, the pathways result. So I realized something because I really struggled with this particular speech. I put it off several months ago and I almost put it off again because the way my brain works, I was thinking, okay, I understand I have an analytical communication style, but I don't know what else to say beyond that. I couldn't see how that information would be useful to my audience. And then I realized that this difficulty with giving a speech about my personal communication style is exactly the kind of trait that puts me in the analytical communication category, which is that is someone who generally likes to stick with facts and not so much with opinions. And I would say that outside of family and friends, I kind of have a need to know filter, and I generally don't share information unless I think it's something that is actually needed. But I will say that I find these kinds of personality tests to be very helpful and reassuring in a way. As a true analytical style person, I like to gather as much information as I can and then very slowly think about it all. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.